Exploration is nothing new for Lebanon. It really started by the Phoenicians. Our ancestors have been major explorers. They explored the Mediterranean. They used the sky, to learn about how to locate themselves when they were traveling in the oceans. And the Arab world has been a major contributor to the science that now we base all our exploration on. And it could be because of the beautiful sky in the Middle East. They became all astronomers, so they can position themselves as they travel, be it in the desert or on the oceans. And they developed some of the major technological achievements like the astrolabe, which was used for many centuries. And matter of fact, many of the stars in the sky have Arabic names. And that comes from that era when the Arab scientists and Lebanese scientists contributed in a major way for what our society is doing. So now what I want to do is to tell you a little bit about the exploration that we do today. This is a picture of our solar system. Now it's a montage, but it gives you an idea about the relative size of the different planets. And our planet, Earth, is the little one which is 3 from the left. So that shows you relative to the other planets, we are pretty small. That little blue dot basically has on it all the people you know, all the people you love, all the people you hate, all the people that you fight with, all the people you don't know. All of them is on that little dot, that we have in space. So we really should cherish that little dot. There are no boundaries, on it. It's our planet, all of us, and we should take good care of it. Now, with our exploration at NASA and the United States and at GPL, we have visited all those planets. So over the last 50 years, I started getting excited about space when I was 10 years old, and I remember hearing the beep of Sputnik on the radio. That was in 1958. And that impressed me tremendously as a young kid, that, we can put a satellite in orbit, around us, not only looking at the stars, but we can actually, as humans, we can put a satellite in orbit around the planet. And imagine what happened in the last 50 years. Actually we sent a human to the moon. We have visited all the planets. And what I'm going to tell you today is about the expedition we have sent to Mars, where we have landed a car-sized rover on Mars. It is amazing when you think about it, what we have accomplished in the last 50 years, just in a generation. So clearly the planet that we cherish the most is our planet. It's a planet which has water on it, it has life on it. And what we are trying to do in our exploration is to understand what's the similarity and the differences between our planet and other planets. And why is our planet have life on it? And could other planets have life on it? Not necessarily life like you and I, but at least at the microbial level. And what are the ingredients which led to our planet to have life on it? And one of the nearest planets to us that we can explore is Mars. Now, Mars has a lot of similarity with Earth. It's about 1/4 the size of Earth. The land mass on Mars and the land mass on Earth, if you take the oceans away, is about the same. So it's a pretty big place that you can explore. As you see from that picture, Mars has polar caps, similar to our planets have polar caps. Those polar caps are made of water and carbon dioxide. They shrink and expand, depending if you are in the winter or the summer, exactly like what happened in Antarctica and what happened in the North Pole. Mars has an atmosphere, much thinner than our atmosphere, but it still has an atmosphere. If you look at the details, the geology on Mars looks very much like the geology on Earth. I will give you a bet to tell which one is a picture from Mars and which one is a picture in the western United States. They look very similar. The one on the left is a canyon on Mars. The one on the right is a canyon with the Grand Canyon in the United States. You have volcanoes on Mars similar to volcanoes on Earth. On the left is a volcano in California. On the right is Mount Olympus, which is the largest volcano on Mars. To give you a feel, that volcano is 3 times the height of Mount Everest. So it's a huge volcano, which is on that planet. Today it's not active, but sometime in the past, the way that volcano was created, there must have been a lot of volcanic activity which occurred on Mars to create, that volcano. If you look at the surface of Mars, it looks very much like the surface on Earth. I usually give this as a test to my students at Caltech, tell them, guess which one is Mars and which one is Earth. And on purpose, I didn't put the title. Even sometimes I forget, which one is Mars and which one is Earth, because they look so similar. So the one on the left is a picture taken on Mars, and the one on the right is a picture taken in the desert in California. The point out of all of this is to tell you that Mars and the geologic activity on Mars is very similar to Earth. This morning I flew from Dubai to here, so I was looking out of the window over the desert in Saudi Arabia and southern Iraq. And I can tell you, it looks very much like Martian pictures, that we see. So it's very much like the desert that here, or in northern Africa, or in western California, you see the same phenomena on the planet. So the key question we're trying to ask ourselves is, why is Mars does not have life today? If it's so similar, if all the geologic phenomena are similar on Mars, we know from some of the missions we have done that sometime in the past there used to be oceans on Mars. Now you would say, how do you know that? Well, by analyzing the rocks, we can determine if there were lakes there and the lake evaporated. You find that everywhere in the desert, where you see dry lakes and you see salt, which is on the dry lakes, which was left after the water evaporated. We see the same thing, on Mars. So a key question is, if there was ocean in the past, and if Mars has the same geology as Earth, if it has the same heat like created volcanoes, could have life started on Mars? And what changed? Why is it so dry today, while here on Earth it's so wet? And what made that divergence between those two planets? So by comparing the two, we can learn about ourselves. We can learn about how life started on Earth. And then by exploring to see if life ever existed on Mars, it could tell us more about how life evolved. Is it similar to here? Does it have DNA? Is it similar DNA to what we have here on Earth? Or did life never start on Mars? And for some unique reason, life only started on this planet. So what we are trying to do in our exploration is to learn about where did we come from. Not just the last few hundred years, but a few billion years. How did the Earth form? How did the solar system form? And why do we have the diversity in our solar system? And if you look at the geology, it looks very similar. On the left, you see the geology in the Grand Canyon. You see those layers on the hills. That show you different